Yo, 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 welcome to another edition of the Geeky Bros Podcast. I'm your boy Tactics.
Yo, it's just Darcy here.
This is Big Geek Umar. How y'all doing today?
Pretty good, CNN. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm also pretty happy. It's an inside joke. Moving on. I'm also want to give a special
Let's
shout
not
out.
move on. Let's
No,
go
no,
into that a
no,
little
no,
bit.
no. Let me give my shout out first. My shout out to my bro Tactics, who, for all of you who don't know, my man, after 2 years, has finished his schooling for massage therapy and holistic therapy. I feel I'm missing one other thing, but still, he's badass, and he finished it all.
Just massage therapy. No holistic.
Just massage therapy. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he finished massage therapy. Uh,
Appreciate it, fellas. Appreciate it. No more assignments, so I don't have to miss any shows for the foreseeable future. So that's good.
Nice.
yes.
Nice.
Yes. So we all very proud of you, bro. Very proud of you.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
also, I think this is your first Friday free.
Yes, first Friday free. Didn't do anything really. I did watch 2 episodes of Superman.
Yeah.
Superman and
Yeah.
Lois. I did watch 2 episodes of that, so that was good.
Our boy is catching up, and a good time too, because we definitely have a lot of Superman to discuss today, including Superman Lois season 3. Yeah, do you guys think should we jump in, or do you guys have any other announcements before we go to the first topic?
Nothing over here. Nothing for me.
All right.
Send it, CNN.
What does
You
that
are
mean, by the way?
Yes, Darcy. What does it mean exactly?
You cold noting motherfucker.
We will get to that Cole's noting aspect of my personality a little bit later in the show. So tune in if you wish to know. So just a quick piece of housekeeping before we go in. For all of you new watchers, if you're watching and we are no longer live, please do check out the descriptions below, and you'll see the timestamps for the topics that we're going to be covering. So you can click on and go directly to the topic you want to see. So,
just quickly there, Umar. You said no longer when we're not live, but you kind of pronounce it like if we're no longer alive. So for all of us you listening, when we are not live on the show, not when we are dead. just to be clear.
I mean, like when this is viewed after we're dead, you can also check out the timestamps. But like while we're living, for very long lives and knocking on wood for that, yes, please feel free to watch our click on our timestamps. Thank you for that, catching that, Darcy. Okay, so first topic. Going right into our geeky news of the big geeky news of the week, which has been Superman focused. James Gunn's Superman Legacy has found itself a Superman and Lois. So James Gunn is going to be, as you all know, and as we've discussed before, he will be directing and writing the upcoming DCU Superman Legacy film. DCU is the new universe after the DCEU, which had so many problems. But nonetheless, so we have been wondering, we've been theorizing who is going to be playing Superman, the title character, and we have recently been told, finally, I think it was like 2 days ago, who Superman and Lois are going to be. And the actors, David Corenswet, I really hope I got that right, and Rachel Brosnahan are going to be playing Clark Kent, Superman, and Lois Lane, respectively. Now, I don't know about you, bros, but I don't know anything about the work of our David Corenswet, but I am very aware of Rachel Brosnahan's. I've watched the first season and a half of A Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, where she's the title character and has won Emmys for it. I've seen her in House of Cards. I think that was her big breakout role. And and I think I've seen her in a movie that I can't remember right now. But so nonetheless, I have been a big fan of her. I wouldn't say a big fan. I've been a growing fan of her. She is a phenomenal actress, and given her behavior and personality that she depicts in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, she is without a doubt, like she was my first choice out of all the people that were being considered. She was my first choice and hope to be Lois Lane. She will knock this out of the park, especially with Gunn both writing and directing this. Like, I have no fears. In terms of David Corrin Sweat, personally, aside from him looking like a young Henry Cavill-ish individual, I don't know anything about him. I don't know anything about his like acting background. I know he was in a movie called Hollywood. Oh no, sorry, a TV series called Hollywood. I didn't get to see it, but I heard that him and one other actor were standout actors. But I haven't seen it myself, so I personally don't know. Nonetheless, I'm willing to give him a try because the other two actors that were up, I didn't know one of them, and the other one was Nicholas Hoult, who I like, and he has range, but I feel he probably has a better look of a Superman / Clark Kent. Anyway, so those are my thoughts, initial thoughts on it. I want to hear what my bros think. So T, let's start with you, man. Do you have any thoughts about this casting?
No, I don't. I know nothing about either of these people. I'll say that the dude looks the part. I mean, he kind of resembles. He kind of looks like Tom Welling a little bit. Which I mean,
yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, like he's at first glance, I actually was like, wait, are they related? But then I saw the name and I'm like, yeah, probably not. So. I mean, he looks the part, but I'm not familiar with his body of work, so I can't really say in regards to his acting if he can actually pull off the role of Superman, but he at least looks the part. As for the girl, I don't even think I've seen this chick in my life, so I don't know. I don't know anything about her. I don't know what she's been in. Well, I mean, you mentioned it, but other than that, I'm not familiar with her body of work either. So yeah, I guess I'm just gonna have to wait and see when a trailer comes out if they can actually pull off the role. I trust in James Gunn. He's done a pretty solid job in terms of casting his movies. So I trust that he's made the right decision and that he saw something in both of these individuals that is going to bring something new and refreshing and something that we all learn to love and enjoy. So yeah, I guess for me, I'm just going to reserve judgment until I see a trailer or I hear more about it. Until then, yeah, I don't really know.
Darth?
So one, I've seen her in House of Cards. I had to look it up while you were mentioning that because I was like, oh, I don't really remember. So, she had a great role in that, and she really delivered. I don't know anything about him, but James Gunn does a great job of finding people that are either lesser known, is a better way to put it, lesser known,
yeah,
or almost unknown, and then also mixing them in with someone who's very well known at the same time.
Yeah.
And yet making something amazing, right? Like he fundamentally, I'm gonna say, catapulted Chris Pratt's career, right? Like Chris Pratt was known, and after Guardians of the Galaxy, Chris Pratt became a mega star because of that delivery through James Gunn knowing how to have a character and have a person and have these two things match and how to write them together, and isn't just like, hey, who's got a big name and like let's just pick this person because it's gonna sell. Like he took a relatively like let's say unknown cast and all the biggest hitters except for Zoe Saldana, who the rest of them they are not even utilized as frontrunners. Like Bradley Cooper, huge. Vin Diesel, huge. Both animated. Right? And then you put in our guy Drax here, who's like at the time people considered, can he act? Right?
But that goes to your point. That goes to your point about like James Gunn finding people.
Exactly, right? Like the people who front run from a visual perspective are the people that he just knows how to bring together. So when I see that, I know she does good work, and he looks like a guy who feels like it could be right for the part, especially if like I'm not saying everyone needs to beef up like it was in Zack Snyder's thing, but
right.
I'm assuming he'll work out some level, like say he's like at Tyler Hoechlin level of fitness, right? Like I think he's gonna look very strong, especially he's got the strong jaw. Now, one thing interesting, I was looking up while you were talking about this. I was trying to look her up, and I was clicking around IMDb, and I came across Superman Legacy and saw that, like, yeah, they're listed there. I noticed that she's first, which tells me that's something interesting towards the story, because it's like Superman Legacy, and Lois Lane is the #1 billed cast member so far on the list. So does that mean that we're going to be hearing more about Superman from Lois's perspective and less from actually, like, I'm not saying we don't see Superman, but is it like a historical thing, like he's passed on, or is it just a completely different way of telling a story? Is it just like it's about Superman maybe before they get together, and it's from her perspective as a journalist about Superman, less about actually like seeing it from Superman's perspective? Just something that kind of popped in my brain, just seeing that she was above him, and I was like, oh, that could be a very different. That could be hinting at something that's different than what we expect.
Yeah, I can see that. I can also see the fact that like she is significantly more known and also has a lot more accolades than he does.
Yeah, but it's Superman.
But
like you expect him to be the #1 character, like the #1 on the list. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it would be interesting if they took it from her perspective, because then that can lead into kind of the things that we were hoping for. Because it's like seeing him as she's like talking about Superman and writing about him, and so we're seeing Superman from that perspective. But she's interacting and getting to know Clark. And that's like the part that we're seeing the most. That would be interesting.
Yeah, that could be really interesting. Go on.
I think to your point, Darcy, it could go one of both ways that we just mentioned. I know in Batman '89, Jack Nicholson was first bill, even though Batman was it's supposed to be Michael Keaton being the front runner because he's Batman, he's the main guy. But Jack Nicholson was first billing on the credits. But also, I like the notion of the story taking place from the perspective of Lois Lane, maybe writing about Superman, because when you hear of Superman Legacy or like title character Legacy, you as the title character, you're not gonna talk about your own legacy. Someone else is going to be reflecting on that and saying, yeah, he left a legacy, he was a legend, X, Y, and Z kind of thing. So I would like it actually if it was from the perspective of Lois and how she interpreted the effect that he left on the world.
Yeah,
which does kind of go into like the story of Grant Morrison's All-Star Superman. It is like the spoiler warning. I mean, wait, now that comic came out in like 2000 and something. So like the book ends with Superman going into the sun and living in the sun. And so, and since James Gunn has openly stated that he has read and is using Grant like he loves Grant Morrison's work. I find Grant Morrison to be a hit or miss, but nonetheless, like he is a competent writer. It's just that sometimes his stories go in a weird fashion for me. But if Gunn is going to be using All-Star Superman or Grant Morrison's runs of comic books as a guiding post, then it would make sense towards what both of you are saying.
Yeah, like I had that theory in a prior podcast. Don't know how many episodes ago, but you feel free to listen historically until you find it. But my theory was that because it was called Legacy, and because of some of the way the stories are, how we're going into after or just before Superman, we have that like animated one about all of it's like the not so good version of the Justice League. I forget what they're called.
The like the opposite universe one?
No, it's inside of not like Injustice or like a flipped universe. Inside the roadmap that James Gunn laid out. There's they're a group of people that like take on their own form of justice, but they're not really like doing it.
Like the elites.
No, it's not the elites. I forget what's on the roadmap, but it's an animated one that comes out first in the DCU before we actually get to a live action.
Oh, sorry. I was misconstruing what you were saying. Oh yeah, sorry, my mind went just blank.
Yeah, it starts with like an A, but it's not Anarchy, and that's all that keeps running through my head. That's why I'm stuck.
Oh my god.
But the fact that we're going to talk about superheroes or heroes, maybe not super, but heroes that are doing things that are bad and brutal, and then we're going to have a story later on where we're going to have like Supergirl on her own, kind of like figuring things out, maybe on a different planet. I don't know. Something.
Not the Authority, right?
Yeah,
Sorry,
the Authority.
I'll-
Yeah, I think it's the
okay.
Authority.
Okay.
The point being is that something about the way he laid out the roadmap made me feel like it. We're gonna start this universe with Superman not being there for a reason, whether he passes on or he leaves, and it's the vacuum of lacking of Superman that is going to be the whole first chapter of this universe. Is like what happens when you had a god that can protect you and the god is no longer there, and we start with the shadow of his legacy, like the talking of his legacy and then the effect of it not being there anymore. And to me that was like a very interesting idea of how to start a universe, because instead of building up to a big thing, you start from a big thing and just stop it, and then all of a sudden you're just thrown into what happens, and that really intrigues me. And this is keep hinting in that direction, and I really want to see it kind of play out this way.
Yeah. I think the animated show that you were talking about was Creature Commandos.
Oh
But the
yeah, it was the Creature Commander show, but
Yeah.
there was the Authority was the
Authority
thing I was
is the
trying to
movie.
reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a movie. But yeah, that whole point of like, why do we have a bad Justice League before we have any of the Justice League characters? Oh, maybe it's because Superman's not there, and
yeah.
they have to step in from their perspective. But they aren't on the same morals. You know what I'm saying?
And also the fact that the first chapter of the DCU is called Gods and Monsters kind of plays up to the fact that like the gods, aka Superman and potentially Wonder Woman, are not in the picture. So that means the monsters have to take over.
Yeah, they have to, and they will anyways, right? Yeah. So like the good and the bad monsters.
T, were you going to say something, man?
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry. The way you position, I'm like, ooh, he's got a point.
It's like, no comment.
All right. Well, before we move on, just to our audience members, please feel free to like write in the comments of what you think of this casting for Superman Lois for the upcoming DCU. Though the first official DCU James Gunn film, Superman Legacy, that comes out I think in 2025. Like filming is going to start in like 2024, and then the movie should hopefully come out in 2025. We'll see about the writer strike in that time.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on to our next topic. Jonathan Majors has jumped back into the news cycle twice in as many days. One in a positive sense, and then another in a back into let's restart the whole thing. So the first bit of news came out was that Jonathan Majors was pursuing his case and wanting to take it to trial. I'm paraphrasing, so Darcy Tactics, if please feel free to like cover the areas that I'm skipping. Mm-hmm. He's pushing to go to trial, mostly because there is lots of evidence proving that he was not the aggressor in that particular incident and was actually wrongfully arrested, and that his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend now was actually lying or was actually more the aggressor. So
added detail in what they had there was that that she was coached by the New York police as to give the testimony that he had abused her, that they couldn't believe that he owned the apartment that he had and couldn't explain why she was there, so they coached her into basically building up those charges.
So so that was the first bit of news, and then that was followed today with several articles on a Rolling Stone article that was published, where the Rolling Stone has gone deep diving. Now, again, the information that from what I've been reading and what I've been trying to find, the information from the Rolling Stone's article seems to be essentially all hearsay. So these are more alleged issues or potential things for Jonathan Majors. The Rolling Stones have been saying that two previous excuse me, I breathed wrong.
Yo, you good?
Someone want to take over? Someone take over.
I don't know where you were going with that. We'll wait. Darcy, you're on mute.
Oh, my bad. I was talking on mute here. How long have I been on mute? Anyways, I know
Question
some.
Is how long is Umar gonna die? Fuck.
Yeah. Maybe that earlier statement of when we were live was foreshadowing. Breathe. He's over here choking on mute. Come back to us, CNN. Come back. Now he's gonna choke on water. My bad. Oh. All right, he's back.
Thank you for that. All right, so yeah, so why were you guys making me laugh and drink and like make me laugh while I was drinking too? So the allegations in the article of the Rolling Stones say that they spoke to previous people that were in relationships with Jonathan Majors and said that he was either physically abusive or emotionally abusive. And then apparently they also spoke to several members of other sets that he was a part of, saying that he was very intense, very confrontational, and also was not abusive, but was intimidating and potentially scary. Now, my 2 cents on these, on this article and its allegations are that the set stuff could either mean several things. It could be that some people were jealous. It could mean everything they said were true. It could mean that white people scared of a black talented individual. And also there was a defense saying that he's a method actor who was in the role when he was on set. To be fair, no one has like gone allegations of other actors doing the same. I think the first that comes to mind is Jared Leto, and like he's still making movies. So
Christian
like,
Bale. Yeah,
Christian Bale, yeah, there's literal video evidence of that, and that didn't really harm his career at all, much. So the set stuff, I will say that again, I don't know anything, but based off of these allegations and where it's coming from. It sounds like there's kind of like an attempt to paint Jonathan Majors in a negative image. However, there could be truth to this. With the previous relationships, I will say that since they're not willing to come forward, I can't really comment on that because for all we know, these people are too scared to, or these people just don't want to put their names up on stuff that they're saying. Nonetheless, it just sounds like this is just nothing is corroborated, and these new allegations don't really seem to be very strong, in my opinion, at present. This is not to say that I'm exonerating him of all these things. It's just that, okay, this just sounds like other acting behaviors that we have seen in the past. So that's my take on this current development on the Jonathan Major stuff. I'm gonna pass it to my bros. Darcy, let's start with you this time. What are your thoughts on everything I have laid out, or also things that you have also learned about the Jonathan Major stuff?
can't say I've learned much more than you. Most because I just try not to be paying attention too much of this stuff.
I hear that.
But I mean, from the current trial, it's unfortunate that he would have to go through this much targeting from the police. And
is that Megan Good?
Yeah,
Yes,
he's dating Megan Good now. Yeah, she went with him to the court. I didn't know that. That was different. You didn't know that, so there you go. Yeah. I mean,
looks good.
She's always looked good, man.
Yeah.
Her last name is Good.
Yeah.
Like, you was born with last name Good. You probably good. But
I'm
it's
sorry.
it's unfortunate that he's being targeted. Is it a surprise that the New York police would try and coerce somebody to basically plant and fake evidence against a black man who has a rich apartment that they didn't recognize? Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, like, just watch a New York crime drama show. You'll probably find something. But really unfortunate that his ex-girlfriend went along with it. Seems like she had desires to achieve things from that situation, considering, she one of those pieces of evidence was, her going to the club right afterwards. That's always, and seemingly fine. These new allegations, yeah, I don't know. It's just unfortunate. Like, if it's like there's like kind of like three paths I see with these new allegations. One path is he isn't a great individual and has done bad things.
Yeah.
Two is his method acting is very difficult and people want to take advantage of this situation and use his methods, and maybe they are really bad, but use it as a means to get something, but they probably knew he was acting for a role and that he was going to be a very difficult person to be around during that period of time, so they probably were aware to some degree. Or three, people are just out here trying to tear tear a man down, and I need evidence because I'm not for how do I put this, standing in a group full of people casting stones at a person when I know nothing about them. So yeah, let's see if they're gonna take it to court, and if they're not gonna take it to court, no one's gonna prove nothing, then you're just talking right now.
T.
Wait, so that report about his ex-girlfriend getting arrested and all the accusations being falsified, that wasn't accurate, or?
Oh, sorry. Well, I didn't quite understand what you were asking.
So as far as I know, the reports have stated that the ex-girlfriend corroborated the entire all of the accusations. They were basically false against Jonathan Majors, and she actually got arrested for those accusations.
Yeah, she's been arrested today.
Yeah,
That I didn't
latest.
know. Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's
I
the
didn't know
latest.
that.
Yeah, so because Jonathan Majors and his lawyer actually had all this evidence, like all the video footage and everything, and like he also had an alibi. I think it was the driver, an Uber driver or something like that, to basically corroborate his story that basically exonerated him of any of the accusations that she came up with, and basically it turned against her, and now she's since been arrested, not for that situation per se, but more so assault, or like she's been arrested for assault charges or something like that. Yeah.
For him?
Yeah.
For him, yeah. It's been going on. Wow. It's been going on for 10 years apparently.
Wait, she's been assaulting him for 10 years?
For 10 years, yeah. That's the latest I've heard so far.
Wow, I have not heard the latest then.
Yeah. So
that's interesting.
So that's the thing. So for me, when this story first broke, when it comes to these kind of things, especially with like the way social media is now and everything can be easily fabricated, I always like to reserve judgment until I get all the facts. So a lot of people I noticed are very quick to like put a person under the bus, especially if it's a person of color. And on top of this, with the whole Jonathan Majors thing, this doesn't look good because you have a man being accused of assault against a woman. Not only is it a woman, but a white woman. So black man assaulting a white woman, that does not look good in headlines. That does not look good, period. But in headlines, they will castrate you for that shit. So right away, everyone, I've seen all these videos of like, oh yeah, I knew Jonathan Majors was an asshole, and then you have all these other people saying, yeah, he, I always got a bad energy from him on set and blah blah blah. And it's just like, it's so easy to put a person under the bus when the whole world is already dragging them through the mud, right? And I think that was unfairly done because we, as outsiders looking in, we didn't have all the facts. We just heard a story, and it was one of those TikTokers that you guys watch sometimes. Not the goofy guy, but there's another black guy that you guys watched.
I know exactly who you mean, bro.
Yeah.
Sorry, you not Straw Hat Goofy. You mean King Lion?
Yeah. So I didn't mean to call him Goofy, but that's part of his name.
His name is Straw Hat Goofy.
Yeah.
No, but like I hear you, but King Lion makes me laugh, but at the same time, he definitely is a character that I'm just like.
No, I don't. Well, was it him or it was someone else? I can't remember. But anyway, that's besides the point. What he was saying, I really agree. I agree with his point of view, where he said that, yeah, should we take stories of accusation against, especially against women, seriously? Yes, but should we be so quick to judge without getting any of the facts? No, we need those hardcore facts, because like there have been cases before in the past where women will make false accusations to get some kind of monetary gain, and they capitalize on the fact that they're women, and they're in a position oftentimes of power, because they know that a lot of the times the opinion is going to lean in their favor. And that's unfortunate, because now when a woman actually is being accused, being assaulted, and she comes forward, there's now going to be more scrutiny, because now people aren't going to take it as serious, because you have women over here abusing the system because they're women and they can get away with it. So it paints women in a bad light when women like this girl does shit like this. And it's also unfortunate how the public can be so easily swayed. So this was a little bit upsetting for me to see this. And yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate because he lost a lot, and I'm just hoping that, like, after all of this blows over, like, one, he's given a public apology, and two, that he's able to carry on with his career, and it doesn't taint his career in any way, because again, this got dragged out far too long, and it ended up working in his favor, but at the cost of potentially losing his career and like being judged. And yeah, it's a bad look. So yeah.
I have just two things to respond. First, in terms of his career, I would say that since Marvel hasn't announced that they're getting rid of him as Kang, it's very likely he might be okay.
But he lost a couple of endorsements though.
No, I understand that. So you are correct. He has lost stuff, but I believe that since he hasn't lost that, like if he lost, like I will say this, yes, he's lost his endorsements and all that, but if he lost his entire MCU future, he could sue big time.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that. Yeah.
Let me ask you this question though. Like, so let's assume, or like, what do we think it's gonna be going forward from this moment if everything turns out on the positive for him, right? And on the idea that like Marvel maybe knew the whole time, like what the evidence he had, and they're like, okay, we're just gonna sit and wait.
We're gonna sit quietly.
We're gonna sit quietly and let this play out, because like we're not gonna make no announcements, because we've seen, our lawyers have talked to your lawyers, we got a sense, we can tell where this is probably going, and so we'll hold out. And then we got some companies that are like quick to jump ship. Like, what do we think is going to be the play out after this? If we've already seen that like charges going this way, it seems like it's going positively in his favor, that he isn't the aggressor, he's the victim, and so how we think it's going to play out in terms of like Marvel and other people afterwards.
I foresee a silent. Go on.
No, I was just gonna say, sorry. I foresee there being some delays in their lineup. I mean, there's already delays due to the writer's strike, but I feel like they're probably not gonna rush the whole Kang Dynasty, and all the other movies that are going to involve him right away. They're going to probably have to do some rearranging here and there and put things off until all of this kind of blows over. Because again, a lot of people who aren't really up to date on the latest news regarding this trial or these accusations, they're probably still under the impression that, you know, this motherfucker's guilty. And yeah, it's a black guy who assaulted a white woman. That, regardless of whether he's guilty, innocent, it, like, that headline alone is very damaging. And I mean, he can technically sue for defamation of character, can he not?
No, she's open to a lot of liabilities like this. Also, so is the, like, if he wanted to and was committed to, he could also make a suit towards the city of New York regarding the police handling of the situation.
Well, yeah. So there you go. So
I kind of hope he does do that.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
this is crippling.
I will say that my thoughts are that there's going to be like a quiet reconnection with him in terms of all the endorsements. They're not going to make big shows to say that they're doing it. They're just going to be like, hey, you know, we're going to sign with you after a couple of years if things continue, especially with the Kang stuff and people start forgetting. Just going back a little bit to what, like, the second point that I had about what you were saying, tactics, is that regarding this woman and her, so far it's seeming like very, very clear that she has made up stuff, and how this is going to have a negative effect. It's actually really true, because already the statistics, both legally and also sociologically, dealing with women who falsely accuse, they represent less than 1% of the population. So essentially, let's round it up to 1%. That means 99% of women who are actually being abused are either keeping silent or are, as you say, being scrutinized, because the 1% are getting the most media attention. Like this one woman, and there have been, we know, like, there have been many times this has happened. This one woman is doing more harm, just like you're saying, because she's part of the 1% who is, as it's appearing, falsely accusing. And that means all the 99% have now an even more recent example, and so therefore are even more inclined to stay quiet. So yeah, like, it's like all, like, in the cases of all the men who've been falsely accused, it's really terrible for them. And also, it's once again another 1 to 2 steps back, at least for the foreseeable, like, future, for women who want to come forward or are, like, debating coming forward of their own assaults.
Another point that I actually wanted to make, I was a little apprehensive to actually say this on air, and I kind of alluded to this in our WhatsApp group, but I've also kind of, like, within the Black community, in terms of some of the comment sections that I've seen in a lot of these videos regarding this case, is that, you know, he's already getting scrutinized for dating a white woman. And now, because of this whole situation, a lot of the Black community, like, I don't want to generalize, but some of the Black people in the Black community are, you know, casting crude judgment on him for his preference or his choices in dating this white woman, and now saying, yeah, like, if you had dated a Black girl, this would have never happened, and, you know, saying all these kind of, like, racial things and whatnot. So
Kind of like
I
he
think,
deserved it.
yeah, in a way where it's like you should have expected this to happen, because at the end of the day, like white people don't have our best interests at heart, and they act like they, you know, they love us, and then when the chips are down, they prey on your vulnerability and blah blah blah, all that stuff.
Yeah, like an ally when it's easy, but not when
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah,
Right.
and so because of this, I feel like he's going to lose out on a lot. He's going to lose a lot of respect within the Black community because of this. Even, and, like, I can even go as far as say, like, anticipating that people are probably going to say that him dating Megan Good now is just simply a PR move to save his reputation, where it's like, oh, the black man's finally like he's finally woken up and he's come back to our side kind of thing. Because this is the conversation that we often hear a lot of the times. And I brought this up off air in regards to remember, Umar, we were talking about this regarding the Across the Spider-Verse, where
with this versus the Spider-Gwen and also the Miles situation,
and Miles,
how the public has been reacting to it.
Yeah, and their whole relationship and whatnot, and how Miles is, swooning over Gwen, who is Caucasian. So yeah,
you also made a good point about how like the focus is on Gwen specifically and not about Gwen like screwing over Miles, but not Peter.
Yeah, I mean, she's been scrutinized for not being loyal to Miles in that situation, but keeping in mind that Peter Parker of that universe also was on the same side as Gwen, and yet you don't hear anyone on the same side as Miguel, but you don't hear anyone like sending any hate in his direction. So I just never understood that. But I
think it's also because of why people might emphasize that because of the relationship, right? Because even though they're not a couple, there's a romantic connection that they're trying to establish, and I think that's what fuels that for people a lot more.
But Miles technically knew Peter longer.
Deeper.
He has a stronger bond, arguably, because of the fact that Peter was his mentor, right, and taught him how to do this shit, like taught him how to be Spider-Man. So yes, there is a romantic connection between him and Gwen, but it's like he knew her for what less than a day.
Yeah.
2?
The heat should be equal. I just think that's what fuels people's aggression is like the romantic connection, going back to the statements that you're saying about interracial relationships always causing more turmoil than interracial friendships, right? Yeah. It's all cool to be friends with them, just don't sleep with them. So going back to my point, I can foresee him losing out on the black community in terms of the respect there, which is unfortunate. But this whole situation is basically painted him in a bad light, regardless of the fact that he is potentially innocent. Like, he's still going to lose respect from the black community by the sounds of it, based off of some of the comments that I've been reading. So it's unfortunate. Yeah. A portion of it for sure. I mean, I think there's other people who feel differently, but again, I don't want to generalize. I don't mean like all black people.
But you stated that like there's a strong vocal group.
Yeah, I don't necessarily side with that. I mean, like, hey, love who you love, regardless, right? But not everyone sees it that way. So
yeah. Yo, the Geeky Bros got deep.
It happens sometimes.
We're only on topic 2.
On that point, moving on to our next topic, which is something I'm very happy about, and my bros potentially not so much. But I'm kidding. Am I though?
No, that's accurate. That's accurate.
So, all right. So our next topic is the release of the Dune trailer that came out yesterday. So Dune Part 2. I'm gonna go to Darcy first. So like you got 3 minutes. You got 4 minutes.
Still gotta watch this motherfucking trailer, yo.
So Dune Part 2. The trailer, the second trailer, the full-length trailer, was released yesterday. Now we got a teaser trailer a couple of months, like a month or two back, but the full-length trailer was released yesterday. I'm gonna go start first because I'm gonna give T a little bit extra time. So for me, this guy just drops right off.
Tax will be back with us after he's had a chance to watch the Dune 2 trailer.
Yes, without me speaking outward. So personally, I am excited for this movie. I didn't need this trailer to get excited, but I am. As someone who has read the books and is currently rereading it, and also saw the other iterations, I am very pleased with what I see. I'm hopeful that some of the mild criticism I had about the first film, and I'll get to that once we talk with Darcy and Tactics. My mild criticisms from the first film are hopefully taken care of in this film. Nonetheless, the action looks like it will be exactly what Denis Villeneuve has stated. It's going to be an sci-fi action war movie, and I'm just like, yeah, like that's what I want to see. I keep forgetting how stacked this cast is, and it was very nice to see Christopher Walken appearance as Shaddam IV, the Emperor of the Landsrath. Sorry, and so I am very excited for this to come out. I'm going to probably stop seeing any other trailers or TV spots that come out from this point on, because as it is, I saw a lot, and while I'm happy with it, I don't want to see much more because I actually want to really enjoy it. But nonetheless, I'm very excited. I'm not wanting to give spoilers because my bros haven't read the books. I'm just really excited with what I see. So, Darce, I'm gonna pass it to you because you're the only other person here right now.
So, unlike you, I absolutely need this trailer to get hyped for this movie. And I know you just said I read the book, so I don't want to give spoilers. Motherfucker, you better start spoiling stuff because I still don't understand what happened in the first film. Okay, literally, there are like literally three things I remember from the first film. Okay, this is what I remember: the people didn't have water, and the guy gave water as a sign of respect, but they thought when he spit, he thought it was as an insult.
Oh, right.
And then the one guy snuck in and killed everybody at one point, and then the dude at the end fought for the respect to try to be with the woman, and it was a big worm. This is what I remember from the story, because it is, all right, how do I put this? Dune is like the complete opposite end of the pendulum of the Fast and Furious franchise, okay? Fast and Furious is dumb with visual spectacle. This thing is trying to be so intelligent with visual spectacle, and is trying to rush through all the information that I don't know what's going on. Like, I saw this video recently saying, like, this guy took his friends to see The Flash, and the movie was constructed in such a way that if you don't know anything about who Superman and Batman is, like, one of his friends literally was like, I hope Spider-Man shows up in The Flash. So, like, that's the level of superhero knowledge this person has. And you go see The Flash. If you you don't know anything about the story, you're completely confused because they don't explain anything. When I went to Dune, that's how I felt. I felt like all the explanations was like, okay, I'm starting to get this, and we're on to these other people. Okay, I'm starting to understand, and we're on to these other people. Like, I don't get a chance to understand the world at all. I just feel like I'm being thrown from place to place really quickly. It's beautiful. There's some cool moments. So when I go watch this, I'm watching it like I'm watching Fast X, okay? I'm here for the fights. I'm here for the visuals. I don't know what the hell is going on, and I'm just going to walk out like, yeah, that shit look cool. That's it.
I'm down for watching this in 4DX with you guys.
Absolutely. That's probably the best way. Let's absolutely do that. Because honestly, bro, you are going to need, like, you'd be like, I don't want to spoil anything. Motherfucker, spoil the storyline from the first film, because I still haven't received it, okay? I watched the film and I don't know what happened. So I'm like, please.
I am so glad I didn't ask you guys this question before
my motherfucking Cole's note nigga up in here, CNN this shit, so I know what happened. I don't know what happened. I still need to know.
All right, I am gonna come back to this, and I will attest to this. But before that happens, T, I gotta hear, what were your reactions to watching this trailer?
I don't even know if I watched the same movie as Darcy. This guy's talking about water and like a giant worm. I'm like, when did that happen? I don't remember none of that shit. I'm glad you never asked me to, or anyone's ever asked me to explain Dune, because I'm with Darcy. I have no idea what the fuck I watched in the first movie. I'm just sitting there and I'm like, all I see is just desert. That movie was as dry as the scenery. Like, I'm like waiting for some like action to happen. And I'm like, damn, this movie is dry. Like legit, it is dry as this desert that I'm looking at right now. Like,
okay, hold on. What did you think of the trailer you just saw, though?
Oh, it's even more dry. Like, it's just all I'm seeing is just dry ass sand and desert and sand and just, you know, people with sand on their clothes and just dry, bro. It's just
didn't you see like explosions and killing and all that shit?
Yeah, and then sand in the explosions. Like, it's just dry. It's just dry, bro. I feel like I'm gonna be going in and like they're just gonna show me the exact same cut of the first movie.
You know what's gonna happen.
I probably won't even notice, to be honest. I'll be like, oh, this is the second movie. Nah, this is the first one. We're just tricking you right now.
So you know I look forward to when we go watching 4DX is like we come out and the taxi just got sand on him, and he's like, how did that
happen? He's just like, why is this only on me? And we're all just like, all right. Oh, okay. All right. So I will admit the first movie was so focused on the visual the aesthetic and also introducing the characters as they are, that they kind of didn't really talk about some very important key points. Like to be fair, no, the story was there. The background of the story is also very important. It's like,
can you give us the cliff notes of like what happens in the first movie, just as a recap?
So what happens is it's talking about Paul Atreides, who is Timothée Chalamet. He's the main person you're seeing. He's basically the son of a duke of this house of Atreides. Each great house owns a planet in a solar system. Each of those planets make up basically the empire or the Imperium, and the emperor of the Imperium is Christopher Walken. So Walken,
I am already bored.
Darcy, you liked the first movie. I have it on video.
I enjoyed it, but I don't remember. See, right now, so this is totally random, but for my One Piece fans out here, I know what it feels like to be Luffy. So when people explain stories, the guy falls asleep like immediately, and I'm just over here like, yeah, I'm good.
Fine. The things that were kind of missing were the fact
bro,
of
you lost
spice.
me. You lost me at Atreides, bro.
Spice. You guys with me? You with me? Spice.
Oh, is this like Star Wars where they trade drugs, spice?
More like that was actually stolen from this movie.
All right, cool. We know, whatever.
Yeah,
tip for tat.
But it's different because like that is like an actual narcotic. The spice in this one kind of runs the entire civilization.
Like cayenne pepper? Is that what we're talking about?
I mean, so
if it helps you think of it that way, sure. But spice basically
tangible to latch onto.
All right, spice allows navigators.
Desert. They feel like they pulled something from our world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The spice comes from the desert. And so people harvest the desert for the spice and kill the desert people for it. Okay. Which is Cheney and Javier Bardem. Zendaya and Javier.
So they need the spice. What are they?
Yes, they need all the spice.
What do they need the spice for?
The spice prolongs life. It enhances mental capabilities to like borderline reading people and also moving fast.
So it's a drug.
That's cayenne pepper for sure.
Yeah. It makes you sweat. But also it makes humans able to do like like basically become supercomputers and also figure out how to move faster than light. So basically, since everyone is living on planets and like going to other planets and also like taking over other planets, without the spice, nothing happens. Like literally, civilization will end.
So this was all in the first movie?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I was like, I think this is kind of a very important thing for them to leave out, because all they said was the spice is used for interstellar travel and extending lives. I was like, it does a lot more than that, and it kind of is deeply necessarily like, for the one thing for them to like kind of like gloss over is kind of the most important aspect of the entire film. So I was like, okay, I hope that everyone else gets what that means, and no one else did. I had to explain it to all my friends who didn't read the books. The second thing they didn't really talk that much about was the politics is actually very important, and they kind of glossed over that too. Now, I know you guys aren't into the politics, so like I'm not going to
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
Well, the politics is also including the armies. And the armies thing is what you're going to find interesting, because the few things you said you did like were like all the like battles, but you thought that the battles would actually get more intricate and also like be like when he's like moving and like, you know, stabbing people like left, right, and center. That is because of spice, and it's because it's a special martial arts you gain from spice called the weirding way. It makes you move faster than people can react to. It's like giving you super speed with cayenne pepper.
Okay, that helps.
So it's a movie about white people fighting for seasoning. Got it.
It wasn't supposed to because
hey, this sounds exactly like when when you know the people of certain countries in this world went after like India and the Caribbean. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, it was the whole point of the movie is to show that when we have a messiah or someone that we want to martyr ourselves for, they're not actually good people, and they're just as bad as colonials. Like, that's kind of the whole point. Like, Paul is someone who can see the future. He's been bred against, like, the politics was meant to breed him for a specific purpose. And his family didn't even know that this was happening. And the whole reason he's born and has these powers is because his mother made a conscious choice, because she can actually control what the sex of her child is. And instead of having a girl, she chose to have a boy. And that basically undid everything. And basically he has become the chosen one because she made that choice. And now he is beginning to see the future, which is what kind of is his specialness. And in the trailer, they allude to the fact that he's afraid of what that means, because the planet he's on, they have made it so that the religion would identify him. Like, it's not like legends and mythology that's based on fact. It's purposely indoctrinized propaganda over generations to make him and his mom the chosen one. And so he's deciding in the trailer, like, I shouldn't be this, even though this will help me survive. Like, I can use this to become the Messiah. But like, he even says in the trailer, that's not hope, because they're like, we're giving them hope, and he's like, that's not hope. It's because he is actually manipulating the legends purposely meant to give him power to avenge the death of his family.
So is that his mother on the left? And
nope.
Oh, okay. See, that's how much I remember. By the way, is that the
these two, the two people are new characters from this movie, the ones on either side.
Just quick question.
Yeah.
Curiosity. Is that the engineer from Prometheus? Are we continuing that storyline? And will aliens show up in this film?
No, and no. Though I do
looks
see
like him.
100% does look like him, and like he's so, like the one on the right is supposed to be one of the most attractive men in like the elites right now, and I'm just like, he look a little different.
Everyone got different kinds of beauty standards, okay?
It's space.
Yeah, this is like the most beautiful person. Bleach.
Yeah. It's taking Bleach blondes to a whole new level.
Yeah,
but
make an old Eminem Slim Shady look
like
GQ.
So you took it out. So that's Florence Pugh. She's the princess of the emperor who, in the first movie, set up his father to die. And the other guy is basically the other nephew of Peter Skarsgård, the fat guy who was like floating, if you guys remember that at all,
Nope.
who killed his father.
Kind of.
Okay.
Oh, the really, really disgusting fat guy.
Yeah.
That like this looked like the engineer. Like, why is this someone's like beauty
100%.
standard? Like,
100%. You know that's Elvis, right?
Mm-hmm.
oh, the guy from Elvis. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, this man, this guy make albinos look tanned. Like, damn.
Well, he is on a planet that they have no vegetation and are completely industrialized now.
And they don't have a son.
They may have used that up too.
The hell.
I don't know. This was a unique choice. Like, he's basically the younger brother of Dave Bautista.
Yeah, I'm just more interested to like go to these planets and just like stop and just ask questions about their geology. Like how did this happen? Like,
I definitely would want to ask how worms got to be 30 feet.
especially on a sand planet with no food, nothing. Like,
Yeah.
what is under that sand that they are eating that we don't know about? That's all I gotta say.
But like Darth, I would be happy to rewatch the first movie with you if you want.
You just call me Darth.
I said Darth.
No, I came out like Darth. I was like, am I a Vader? Am I Maul? Like, where are we going with this?
You would be a scary Sith.
You know it, bro.
You would, yeah. You. Ooh.
Oh,
Oh,
there's a concept for another podcast. Let's
You know
take
that. Right.
Take
You
that
know
one aside.
I'm gonna make a note of that. Okay. Anyway, so like, nonetheless, it seems like I'm the only one who's going to enjoy this movie when we go to watch it. But I think the 4DX will definitely help. I do personally believe that this, like, the first one had a very slim chance of making Tactics happy. But I was kind of hoping like the spirituality aspects would get to you. But like, he just saw the space and he was like, "Oh, no, I'm done." Even though it was like 2 scenes.
I don't remember any spirituality in there, to be honest.
They all dried up.
Yeah.
Some of the dry spirits.
So wait, you don't remember the hand in the box scene, either of you?
That I remember.
A little bit, yeah. I remember Aquaman pulling down a pretty dope ass fight too.
Yep, that was pretty cool too. Like Jason Momoa as Duncan Idaho, a big character. So like, personally, this is an incredibly beloved sci-fi series. So like, I have no doubt that given the first one made,
You know what? You know why this movie bugs me? Because this movie is made like the Cole's notes of the actual Dune book. It's like just plotted in like, what are the most important things? And they just filmed those as scenes and it just didn't connect it for me. When they should have just done less of a movie and give me more story. See, yeah, you see it. It's like a Cole's notes. Here's all the important points. Doesn't mean they connect.
I have a hard time arguing that, to be honest, because like, one of the main things people have been frustrated by is they felt like they were missing information because they didn't read the books, aka what Tactics is saying, and also what you're saying, Dars.
Oh,
but also
that's why.
Yeah. But also, like, for me personally, like, I enjoyed the movie. I was very happy with it. There were a couple of things that I like. I found the mom to be a little overly weepy, but like, that's like a personal choice on my part. But in terms of like concepts and things, like, they did show me everything I wanted to see, and it was amazing. And I honestly think that the Fremen is going to be what really interests you, Darcy, because like, they are basically, their entire culture, literally everything they do is built on surviving in the deep desert.
I just want to know what the hell's going on. That's what interests me. Okay, I need less Cole's notes. Slow this thing down so you can tell me a story. Okay, if it's a 6-movie franchise, don't rush it in 3.
Which is probably what they should have done. Because like, even when I was told that it was going to be done in 2 movies, I'm like, that's a lot of stuff to put in 2 films. Like, but they want to apparently make the second film into the 3rd film of the franchise, which it makes sense because it completes Paul's entire beginning, middle, and end portion. But I'm just like, Ugh, that's gonna be another condensed film, but whatever.
Cole's
Nonetheless,
Notes Part 2. Let's go.
Nonetheless, this is a. Just let me take you to 4DX and give it a chance, and I will be happy to go through the first movie with you before we go see it and pause and then give you background information. T, I won't bother with you because I know that you would just watch a YouTube recap or something. Oh, I can find a YouTube recap for you guys.
Definitely will need that. But I like the idea of you doing it kind of like when we'd watch Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter back in the day, and you give all that background information. As long as there's butter chicken and naan,
there's no way I'm not going to have butter chicken and naan, and also and beef and and palak paneer for you guys if you're going to watch this with you're shaking your head for the first time in this entire topic. You're like, yeah, I'm with you.
Because you can stop it, you can explain everything, and enjoy the food.
I'm just there for the food and the ride, bro. That's it.
Fair enough. All right, I'll set it up. Okay, so moving on to our next topic. For the last 2 weeks now, the MCU's Phase 5's first television show has been released. So 2 episodes have been released so far, and Marvel Studios' Secret Invasion, focusing on Nick Fury, is now out on Disney Plus. I've watched the first 2 episodes. I just want to do a quick roll call. Has everyone watched the first 2 episodes?
I have.
Cool.
No.
T? Okay. Have you watched 1?
No.
Cool. All right. So
I mean, y'all weren't talking about it in the chat, so I was like, yeah, it's probably shit. Probably
That's
trash.
absolute facts. I did not mention about this once in the chat.
No, neither did I. Okay.
But Darcy mentioned Superman and Lois, and I was like, yo, I'm on it. So
yeah, okay. All right. So this will be a short initial reaction. Darcy, let me start with you then. What did you think of the first 2 episodes?
Good, not great. Like, how do I put it? It is. I don't know what it is. Okay, so when I say good, not great, it's actually, for the most part, actually done really, really well. And I feel like there's something missing to get me massively excited. And I don't quite know what it is. Because there's a lot of what's that?
The Avengers. The Avengers are missing.
That could definitely be part of it. But Samuel's doing a great job. The villain setup seems pretty cool, and I'm gonna like it. The whole concept with the Skrulls seems really good. The whole style, I forget what kind of style you call this, but the kind of mystery crime, spy drama type thing. That all seems good. And yet there's something feels a little bit slow. And I'm gonna watch it. But ironically, I was more excited to see the last 3 episodes of Superman and Lois when I started getting into them. And when the next episode, I thought last week was the last episode. So this week I was like, oh, let me just see what's something to watch. And this was and Secret Invasion was already out. And I did not think, oh, let's see if Secret Invasion's out. I was let me just go see this random show. Oh, there's another Superman and Lois. Oh shit, let me go watch that. I'm real excited. Watch it. And I was like, oh shit, this is dope. And I'm over here I didn't even think about Secret Invasion yesterday at all. And today I was like, oh shit, I gotta watch that show before the podcast. And the second episode was better than the first for me. It was more exciting and it's getting more interesting. But maybe it's because it's I've seen enough spy drama stuff that I'm nothing it's doing in that area is revolutionizing the idea of spy. So I feel like I'm watching something I've watched before, even though the scroll part is in there. It's almost like they're leaning a little heavily more on the spy vibe, and I'm like waiting for the scroll stuff to really pick up and for it to get to that point where it's like, okay, because like I'll spoil one thing here for text, but they mentioned there's like 1 million scrolls on the planet. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, this could go really interesting. But the tone and the speed of the show is making me feel like you're never really going to show me the effect of 1 million aliens who look like humans revealing themselves and the effect it will have on the planet. But I'm hoping it does, because I feel like it's going to be like, are we just going to like work really hard and never have that consequence? And so it's like, this all could have been bad, but you know, we wrapped it up nice and tidy. This show, the way it has to hit for me to go well is it has to almost be Endgame 2. And I don't mean Endgame as in like, oh my God, everyone dies, but more like, and here's the next thing that just blows
The consequences.
up. Yeah, like the consequences are so big, and like it affects everything after this point. Because if they stop the invasion, so to speak, they stop the like whole world from finding out that a good portion of the world is not human and hasn't been for like 30 years. Or maybe 5 years, but they've been, Skrulls have been there for longer, not the 1 million people. But yeah, like if they don't have that huge fallout, I'm just gonna be like, yeah, that was cool. It might be better than others, but it's not like I'm not gonna go rewatch it. You know, like I'm not gonna be excited about it. So I'm kind of like, I'm hoping it gets more exciting, because it's not bad. It's just not overly exciting yet.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so I will say that I agree with you in terms of the show feels kind of lacking right now. Granted, they could be in like the setup phase, but you're right. It's kind of like, for me personally, I will say that the first episode I enjoyed. It had some rough edges. There were some things that I wasn't a fan of, like, for example, like everyone keep talking about how Nick Fury is kind of off his game. I'm like, okay, that's an interesting way to start this. And then it's like, also Nick Fury is like really traumatized from the blip. And I'm like, okay, I guess. Now, Samuel L. Jackson is killing it. I'm not knocking his acting. He's doing it well. Emilia Clarke, Olivia Colman, especially Olivia Colman in like episode 2, she was a dope interrogator, very cheerful interrogator, which was scary. So like that stuff, it has elements of being a good show there. And the first episode kind of did a good thing of like showing how Skrulls and like how dangerous they can be, and also like this whole like attempt to like, you know, destabilize and take over the planet is kind of like insidious and how it's working. So like I'm like, okay, well, you know, it's I'm a little surprised that like Nick Fury is caught by surprise by this, and also Talos is completely useless apparently, and like they're doing like almost borderline jokey interrogations versus like in the second episode Olivia Colman is actually doing proper interrogations. So like that stuff was like with the first episode. The second episode like really offended me as a comic book reader. First of all, I'm not a fan of the fridged woman situation that they set up at the end of the first episode, and they continued on in the second episode. I personally don't feel that Nick Fury really needed to have that woman taken from him, and that he has to like, you know, like it's made the whole thing real for him. Secondly, why the fuck is Nick Fury this off the game? Like, how is he the person who brought the Skrulls into Earth is for 30 years doesn't even have a contingency plan for the Skrulls at all? He had contingency for like the Avengers and invasions and like response teams and all that sort of stuff. He had prep time for if like someone took over Shield. Like he didn't know it was Hydra, and yet he still was able to figure it out. He also had a backdoor implanted in case his best friend went crazy. But the Skrulls that he brought to work for Shield, he doesn't have a single contingency or way of trying to find out who's who. After being blipped, he just apparently goes off to Sword and lives off planet for like a couple of years because he can't take being disappeared for 5 years. That he never bothered to check in with Talos that, hey, what's the situation? Which is what he did in the second episode. So, like, me personally, I'm just sitting here, I'm like, this, like, Samuel L. Jackson is doing a good job. His scene with him and Rhodey, I found it to be a really interesting scene that had a lot of very, very good cultural representation points of it. And I actually liked seeing the two actors work off each other and kind of be equals. Like, you would think that like Samuel L. Jackson would own that scene, and it was like two equals going at it. And I was like, yo, this is dope. But why is Nick Fury dumb?
You know, Umar, there's something as you're talking that I'm kind of hoping happens in this, is because we got hints of this before. I'm hoping that this show is pulling a, no, I'm gonna say a prank, but like pulling the wool over our eyes.
Yeah.
In that we're gonna find out throughout the show that half of the Nick Fury that we're seeing is a Skrull, and it's somebody he employs. And the second episode kind of drops, and I don't want to say it because, you know, I want Takis to see it on his own. But the end of the second episode hints in that direction that Nick Fury could be a Skrull. And for me, and I kind of hope that we're gonna find out something interesting. Like, maybe when he came back from the blimp, like he had a contingency plan or something. The blip happened, he's like, oh shit, right? And then he comes back and he goes right into his contingency plan, and it's not him, and he is doing his contingency plan, and we're seeing the Skrull run around, do certain things. Though, you know, I don't know. Like, there's something in me that hopes that there's some level of that, but at the same time, it's like, it doesn't fully make sense why he would act the way that he acts when he's in a room full of other Skrulls, and they wouldn't know. Like,
yeah,
it even feels like in the show they try to articulate that Skrulls have to confirm with each other that they're Skrulls sometimes. Like in the very beginning of the first episode, when they bring the new person on, he had to like prove when he's at the gate in front of like the Russian, Skrull guards that he's a Skrull by saying a certain thing. But don't Skrulls know that they're Skrulls by like some like genetic, like, or some like pheromone-ish type thing? Like, aren't they just aware when they're in the room with the Skrulls? Okay, at least that's good then, because I'm like if they knew and then they just like writing this in, that'd be kind of stupid. But yeah, I just hope that there's like, this show is gonna like at some point go, whoa, didn't see that coming, and it gets really, really interesting. How many episodes in the show, by the way?
There's 6, so we're like a third of the way through already.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
like, I'm with you, Darce. Like, me personally, I would say that currently, and again, there's only 2 episodes and a third of the way through the series, so like this could change. But currently, this is like the most offensively written Marvel MCU TV series I've watched. Like, I'm like, I don't like, Hawkeye is dead last for me still. And Moon Knight is kind of like just above it, but like Moon Knight, I think frankly this might go in between where it is right now. It actually may go between Hawkeye and Moon Knight for me, because I'm just like, there's so many times I'm sitting there, I'm like, because the first episode I gave it a lot of slack. I did not like how it ended, but like I gave it a lot of slack. This episode took all of that away because they leaned into all the things I was not liking about the first episode. I was like, why? So I need them to do what you're suggesting, because like, not only is this feeling kind of lacking in energy for a spy thriller right now, but also they're not writing the characters right, which is not something I'm used to for MCU to this degree.
Yeah, which if it's a Skrull thing, that would make sense why they're not writing them right, because they're not the right character, right?
Yeah, and also like this kind of proves that maybe Kevin Feige is spread really thin. And
or he's leaving.
Yeah, like if you told me he is out and he's like, yo, they took away Victoria Alonso, I'm out too, this would make sense for what's happening in this show.
Well, you have to remember it's not Victoria Alonso directly because this decisions that went into this show would have happened years ago.
No, I
Right.
know, I know. I'm just saying that, like, right now, like, no one bothered to actually, like, there are things here that don't really make sense in the continuity of the characters from phase 3, let alone phase 2 and 1. So I'm just like, what the F? So yeah, I'm gonna keep watching, but like, I know this conversation has probably made it so Tactics will never watch it.
Yeah, it's
You
what's
know
that
me
Star
too
Wars
well.
show?
Book of Boba Fett,
No, the one that I haven't watched yet.
the Star Wars show,
What's that?
Antoine.
Antoine.
Andor.
Yeah, thank you, Andor. Yeah, I was gonna say this is Tactics Andor. As
Andor-
in, I'm not super excited to go watch Andor, and neither is he. Watch this one. Not that it's the same quality of show. Just that it's like you have to sell him harder. Like wait till the season goes.
Yeah, like, I don't even want to sell him on this one because, like, I'm gonna wait until the end and then be like, "Yo, T, it didn't get better," or "T, it got better," something like that. Because, like, T, I support you sitting this one out because then you won't be as upset as I am.
I'm just worried that the MCU's this is this last phase, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Like we're just in a place.
I mean, I've been saying this shit for like the last 15 podcasts, but y'all didn't listen. Primarily you, Umar.
I
all
also
started-
disproved. I
It all
disproved.
started with Thor 4, which was some trash ass shit, and it didn't get any better.
Thor
Just saying.
we
4
found
on the floor.
we found that you don't respond well to Phase 4 as TV series, but on average, you actually enjoy the movies of Phase 4. Now, Phase 5, the movie, we have 2 movies, right? No,
Guardians
you just have one.
and
No, yeah.
Yeah,
So
we
we have
got
2
two.
movies. One's a positive, one's a negative. And this is so.
The scale difference between these two films. One at the very bottom, one at the very top.
So Phase 5 is
Wait,
not off
was
to
the
a
bad
great
one?
start.
What was the bad one?
Ant-Man.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Ant-Man, and the worst part is,
Thor's 4's cousin, basically.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Darcy and I have talked about this. Ant-Man actually had they had elements that would have made it a better film, but they literally took it out and changed the ending. I was like, who made
Yeah.
those calls?
Yeah, that. And I mean, Thor 4 had a lot going for it. They had Christian Bale, and they just delivered this. Like there are elements
did
for a
nothing
great,
with him.
like the God Killer or the God Butcher, whatever his name is, like an amazing.
He killed nobody.
character. Yeah, I know. It's like
Off
I
screen
love-
he did.
like that's the best part. Like, let's bring on a character for a specific purpose, but then not show that purpose. It's like, can you imagine watching that movie Favreau did where he was a chef, but the whole film was not about him cooking? It's like just talking about cooking and like, God damn it, cook something.
Yeah. Like, I really was. And you guys know I was Jones for this. And the worst part is, Samuel L. Jackson is actually acting well. That's the worst part. He's doing such a good job being front and center, but they're just giving him bad things to do. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, oh my God, please stop.
Yeah. On that
Okay.
note.
On that note, moving on to our next big topic, our final topic, actually, of the evening. And I'm going to pass it over to our main man, Darcy, to lead this one, because let's just say he's been leading this the whole time. So, Darcy, take it away.
Yeah, so a while back, around episode 4 of Superman Lois, we saw this amazing clip. And this clip was Superman in the diner, and some guy had threatened his wife and his son with a gun. And, Superman's being Clark, and the guy goes to, like, fight him, does the whole like run to push him, and like Man of Steel doesn't even move a millimeter of air around the dude, and then he manhandles this guy to the counter, but in a way where he's holding back 1/1,000,000th of strength.
Yeah.
and yet still has this guy pinned like there's a truck sitting on top of him. What's that?
No, I was just gonna say my favorite part of that scene too is when I forget the dude's name, but Lana's husband, he gets up and Lana's just like, no, he's got this.
Yeah.
He's got it. She's just like, nah, sit
down. You don't know. It's like
I was watching a TikTok of someone who was like reviewing that scene. He's like, guys, can you even imagine? Like, this is a person who's like beat up your child and like threatened your wife. So naturally, you angry. Can you imagine holding back to such a degree that you're like literally like easy peasy touching this guy while you're still super pissed at him? I'm like, that is Clark Kent, and like you're just like, if you actually conceptualize it, Superman Clark is like next level self-control.
Yeah, the man's like literally doing like brain surgery level control. to be angry like at a douche. So
douche,
yeah. So that brought me into watching the season, right? Because I'm like, whoa, there's emotional stuff here.
Yeah.
And let me go see the season. So this season, I will say it has been hands down the best season of Superman and Lois by a long mile. It is so let me get the bad out the way first, okay? Depending on where you are in the season, I want to say it kind of goes like this. There's 13 episodes. The first first episode, maybe second episode, has let's say a 60% good to bad ratio, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Midway through the season, we kind of have a flip where there's like 40% good, 60% kind of bullshit. But in the last 3 episodes, it is straight like it more and more quality. To the last episode is just like almost all quality for me. The BS stuff that happens in this show generally happens around everyone who's not Superman and Lois or an interaction with Clark. Yeah. Yeah.
Darcy, I gotta stop you right now. The truth that you like, I love how you just like you like that was as dispassionate and as objective as you could have put that statement, and like I gotta give you credit. That was a well said statement, bro.
I just speak the facts. That's all I do. I speak the facts. But yeah, it's just like everyone else is like love dramas, especially not Jonathan. What's the other son's name? Oh my gosh, Jordan. Like his thing with his ex-girlfriend and his constant angst of like, oh, she doesn't love me. Like there's a line he has here where she's like, why are you being so mean? It's like, I wish I never loved you. And I'm like, oh my God. Like,
CW.
Like Superman, come here and slap this kid for me, please. like you have superhero, you not hear your son being this like flipping like pathetic out here. Like come. But anyways, so the BS generally happens around that. Now there's some moments where like some of the BS moments play well into other moments, right? Like there's a good scene at the end of the season with Clark and Jordan because of Jordan's stupidity. That it just like you enjoy the Clark part of it, right? And there's a lot of stuff where there's other characters who have BS stuff going on, but Clark will be in a scene and he'll interact with people in a way. And I'm like, I'm glad to have seen that interaction because I'm just seeing who Clark Kent is, and I enjoy that part. Now that's the negative. What's really good about the show, and this is kind of a weird way to say this, but they grounded the show very well by giving Lois cancer. And typically, I would think that's the most bullshit thing to do in a show. But the beauty of this is that it brought a lot of these emotional scenes back to the very first episode where Superman's mother is dying. There's nothing he can do. He can hear it, and he can't stop it. The most powerful man in the world cannot save his own mother. And now his wife has an illness and there's nothing he can do to stop it, to the point that let me ask this question before I jump in. Tactics, have you seen the rationale that they gave related to Lois and
Kryptonian
Kryptonian technology?
the
I
rationale.
don't think so. I think that was later.
Yeah, it was later.
How the hell do you know?
So this is a good point for us to discuss CNN.
Yeah, let me circle back on that, okay? Let me put you on pause. Let me get to the good stuff, okay? Before I get back to that bullshit.
Okay.
So this motherfucker just pissing me off, okay? Like
I'm gonna go on mute.
I was on a
I was
high.
so quick to answer. Like, what the? How do you know, bro? I'm like,
Okay. Anyways. So, what's so good in this show is that it so humanizes Superman because because there's so many emotional moments where Clark has to deal with the fact that, like, can he help his wife, all the stuff she's going through, the emotional weight of her situation, her fear, him trying to be overly helpful and optimistic, and it's not always a good thing to be overly helpful and optimistic and just solve people's problems for them. And there's a really emotional scenes between Jonathan and Jordan related to their mother when they find out she has cancer, and she's staying it and trying to be strong, and then she starts getting really emotional, and they just rush out of their seats and go hug their mother, and it just delivers. And there's just a lot that goes with their relationship, like between my husband and wife of that situation, between the children and the mother, and all this stuff that just is really, really strong and impactful. And then on the flip side, they have 3 villains in this, and it never felt overwhelming. So they did is they focused the whole first, well, they technically have 4 villains, but like I'll just put 2 together. The first portion of this season is Bruno Mannheim and his wife, who she has superpowers, and they're the villain, but she also has cancer. So her and Lois are both dealing with this, and they both end up in the same place, and you kind of can tell, oh, at first it's like you just think it's just a random woman, be like, oh, it's probably part of the villain, right? And it makes both the villain and the superhero's motives end up intertwining, because they're both doing what they're doing at moments for the love of their wife. They're just doing it very differently. And that ends up making the villain very, like, as Umar would say, you're very sympathetic to the villain, and you understand their motives, and it's just not like villainy for the sake of being a villain. Even though he has plenty of things he's done that's bad, well before she got cancer, that makes him an absolute villain. But at this moment, you are very tied to what this means, and you see these parallels between both of their wives, and it makes it very interesting and emotional, and it leads up to a big epic moment for the conclusion of their story in this that I thought was done beautifully, because it wasn't just, and we're just going to go out with some, like, you know, big blue light in the sky that's trying to destroy the earth. Then it introduced a great character that, I mean, Tack has already been spoiled for, which comes in near the very end. They're teasing him the whole time, which is Lex Luthor, and it's a very different take. It's I want to call him, he's the Sons of Anarchy of what a Lex Luthor would be, and he delivers. He's so good in this that when he's in front of Clark or Superman, and the way he acts, I actually feel afraid for Superman. And this guy doesn't have any powers, and yet his unwavering aggression in the face of power makes you feel like, what does this guy have? What can he do? And he's also a very strong and statuesque man on his own. And they do a really good job of giving backstories to what has happened to him when he's in prison, to set up what this character is like. And he's a savage man. He is an intelligently savage man. He honestly, in a way, Tactics, when you see this guy's backstory, he feels a little bit like what Reacher would be like if he was unhinged, right? It's got a vibe, like when he walks
it's got a Reacher-esque. Yeah, you're right.
When Reacher walks in, it's like, you can do this or do this, and this is how it's going to go for you. He has that, but just imagine if Sons of Anarchy version of Reacher walked in and said, it's going to go like this or go like that, right? And you're like, but it's Sons of Anarchy. It's not fair what's going to happen. Like, it's going to be really brutal. And then they set up, I won't say it here for those who haven't seen it, but a third big villain, which is a cliffhanger to the season, which I actually really love because instead of rushing it to get it done this season, they're setting it up to be the end of this, like the cliffhanger, and the start of the next season to a very big event that's going to fundamentally have to shift the entire show at the very beginning of the next season. So they did a really good job of building all this stuff up. Well, I guess we're going to show it anyway. So they bring in Doomsday.
It got spoiled for me, so it's going to be spoiled for everyone else.
Everyone else had 3 days. They're too late.
Yeah, so they bring in Doomsday. And I will say that some of the CGI in this is rough, but it's a TV show, so I give them credit because there's some moments where it's really, really good. And I would say they handled it better than Batman vs Superman. Like they had an existing, they had a Superman from a different universe who had an ability to keep regenerating after death, and Lex Luthor takes advantage and converts this into this being. But the fight, and again, there's rough CGI, but the fight had moments that I was like, yo, are they doing Invincible references here? Like, holy. And the way it ends, oh my God, my heart was pounding at the end of the season. I don't think I've ever felt that intense from any of their fights, because the fight goes and then it has a lull and you're like, oh, okay, that's a good way to end it. And then they're like, no, we ain't done. And like, oh, okay, round 2. And it's intense. It even is pushing Superman beyond into the morally gray area. And I'm super hyped. Like, I'm actually excited for the next season. Now, the last thing I will say about this is that I got no love for them Cole's Note motherfuckers out here who watch this whole season on TikTok. I'm talking to you, Umar,
and YouTube,
who's been referencing this without watching full episodes. That's all I gotta say. I can't with you telling me this and telling me that about your opinions of a show you haven't watched. You haven't watched
it's CW. Season. I don't need to watch all the.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Negro, please.
That was well done.
That's exactly it right there.
Before I continue, T, what are your thoughts of the first 5 episodes that you've watched?
First 5, yeah. I just finished the 5th episode before we got on here. I'm liking it so far. Darcy hyped the shit out of it last night, and I was already like, as you were writing, I was already like on the 3rd episode, and then I'm like, I'm gonna just keep watching. Okay. Thank you,
let me get caught up.
You don't gotta tell me twice. Shit. So I'm liking it. Everything that Darcy said is facts. Like the first, from what I'm seeing, the ratio is definitely 60. 60% good, 40% not so good. The Lana shit is still trash. Like, yeah, it is what it is. They have this whole backstory with her husband and the girl that works with Lois at Chrissy. Yeah, her
that won't get less bullshit by the end. That won't
it gets much worse.
Yeah, you haven't seen the episode.
Yeah, so I'm uninterested. I'm uninterested in that shit, but everything else is good. The emotional weight of, you know, the Lois and her dealing with cancer, and you know, trying to maintain her character of being an investigative reporter and like all of that stuff, and still being a mom and trying to juggle all of that while dealing with this. You feel a lot of the emotional weight being put on the entire family, because Lois is in a position where she doesn't want to be treated like, like she's fragile. And at the same time, she still wants to maintain all of her duties as a reporter, as a wife, and as a mother, and having to deal with the struggles of that. So it seems like they're giving her a lot more to do. Because I remember when we first started talking about this show initially, we felt as though she was kind of like an afterthought, even though her name is in the title card, right? So now it seems like the focus is more equally spread between Superman and Lois, rightfully so. I'm liking the action stuff there, and I'm sure it's going to pick up from here based off of what Darcy's been saying. That scene in the diner with Clark, like, you know, stepping up to that guy. Like, I just love that scene. I've loved all of those scenes from all of them. So even the Man of Steel scene, I love that. They did the same thing in Smallville. So I like moments like that, and it definitely
Superman
delivered
2.
in this Superman 2. So I love scenes like that where you get to see the hero kind of like, you know, you show that side of him, but like not in like a cocky way, but kind of like, you know, like, yo, I'm gonna put you in your place because I don't like bullies type of thing, right? And I love I just love what he said right before he left it, where Lois was like, "This is not a job for Superman," and she's like, "He's not going," and I was just like, oh shit, okay. So yeah, overall, all in all, I'm enjoying the show. I know the previous season we all weren't really a huge fan of, and it got to the point where we had like almost given up on the show, and then Darcy was the first to kind of revisit it and check it out and said good things about it. He was sending clips into our group, and they were really intriguing. So the first one obviously was the reveal that Lois had cancer, and then the other one was the diner clip. So that was a little bit intriguing. So I put that on my list of things to watch, and then had nothing to do, so I checked it out. And I'm like, okay, I'm digging this season so far. I'm liking it. Shut up, Umar, because you know you still gotta watch it.
Yo, roll your eyes quieter, okay?
Yeah.
Ironically, I have said that to other people, so that's hilarious.
Yeah, quiet the mind, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will give my Cole's Notes version. So I have, as Darcy's put it, I've watched a lot of this season on YouTube. Some on TikTok, but like predominantly on YouTube. Thankfully it's gone like episode by episode, so it's been like helpful for me to like know which episode did what. I will say that I have unfortunately watched some of the Jordan and Jonathan stuff, and the only point I actually wasn't wanting to like beat myself over the head was when Jordan. Oh wait, never mind.
Yes, let one man on this podcast watch the show the natural way of watching the show.
Okay, so Darth, the scene where Jordan behaves inappropriately with Clark.
You made that sound really wrong, like way different.
Well, how did I make that sound not wrong?
Repeat what you said, bro.
Say it one more time.
So Jordan act inappropriately with Clark.
Yeah, inappropriately is a word in today's context. It just comes off a little different. I think you
guys are putting sexual connotations on that one.
You're making it sound like you tried to rape his dad. That's what it makes. That's what it sounds like, bro.
Wow, you took that and ran with it, bro. You are not putting that on me.
Like,
you are not putting that on me.
That's definitely on you.
I would have just gone with like. So go on.
No, Darce, what would you have said?
He talked back.
He didn't just talk back.
Yeah, but inappropriate. I mean,
it is inappropriate with a parent to do that. To do any of that.
Disrespectful.
I'm trying to remember what this scene is because you out here implying like Jordan did something crazy that I don't remember.
Yeah, like tried to like fondle his dad. Oh, he slapped him. Oh, he pimp slapped him. Oh, snap.
Oh, I got Jordan. Fire. I got Jordan and Jonathan confused in my head.
I was like, how is this? I should be making it this obvious. But okay, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, no, I'm talking about Jordan, the one with superpowers.
Yeah. Inappropriate.
So he slapped him.
He did something.
Omar, let him
along those lines.
Let's leave it there.
Okay, nonetheless, like that part, I will say was actually something I was hoping that they would follow up with, and the part in the diner in the last episode, which you've already referenced, I like that is the only time of the stuff that I've seen that, like, as I said, the stuff that I've seen, not that has happened in the show, that I found to be anything interesting with Jordan. The things I will say that were my favorite, aside from the diner and also seeing Lex Luthor's scenes, was Clark in a support group for his wife. And like honestly, and I was saying this like off air to to Darcy and Tactics, that it was something I never thought I needed to see from a Superman property, because in the comics, Lois has not been diagnosed with cancer, and this is the first time they've ever done anything like this. And Darcy, like, I will agree, it's kind of hard to say it, but like, cancer is the best thing that happened for a character in the show. Now, this goes back to what I was saying, and also Darcy, you brought this up. When you humanize Superman, when you give him human problems that he can't overcome with his superness, his superpower, that is what makes Superman a very compelling story. It's having someone with so much power being powerless. Superman being brought to his knees because his mother dies of a stroke, and there's literally nothing he can do about it. Having his wife dying of an illness he can't stop, and struggling as a spouse. And she even said something to him. It's like, you will never have to go through this. And I was like, ooh, because like really no other spouse or person can say that to another person, because there's always a chance that something like this could happen to them. But she's literally saying this will never happen to you. And like, for the first time to have that in exchange in a Superman dynamic, that's a powerful thing. So I am glad and I'm amazed that a CW series about Superman is able to actually bring forth the human elements. And Tyler Hoechlin and I'm forgetting her name right now. Elizabeth Tulloch? No, hold on, let me just double check. Tulloch, Elizabeth Tulloch, are bringing it. And Tyler, like, I never thought anyone could replace Christopher Reeves as like the Superman, and Tyler's doing it. And like the Lex Luthor portion, Darcy, the Sons of Anarchy reference you made is spot the fuck on. I saw that he was cast as Lex Luthor, and I was like, this is the guy that they're going to do it with? Like, I saw him in like Walking Dead, and I loved him. Like, don't get me wrong, I believe this actor is a great actor, but he's not my first choice for Lex Luthor. And then I saw him in a couple scenes, and I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm really enjoying him. And then he, like you said, Darcy, he behaves in a way that it's like he is physically imposing to a Superman. And I'm just like, ooh. And I'm not against it anymore. Like, he sold me. He actually sold me that Lex Luthor can be this way, as opposed to like the ways that I've envisioned it, the way that the animated series have like perfectly depicted him, and also the comics as well. And also even to sometimes Michael Rosenbaum on Smallville. For me, I will say that
Justice League Unlimited, that's quality.
Yeah, Clancy Brown from like the animated stuff. That's what I meant by that. But you're absolutely right. So like, for me, I will say that I am very pleased that we now have both a new Superman that as absolutely Superman, and we have a very interesting and different and unique iteration of Lex Luthor. Because if you want to be really critical, Gene Hackman, as much as I love him, is not Lex Luthor.
Oh my god, that Gene Hackman's the one that was on Supergirl, right?
No, Gene Hackman is from he was also in Supergirl the movie, but like I mean like the original Superman movie.
Oh, that was like, yeah, no,
Mr. Smucker. Yeah, like I love him, but like that's not really Lex Luthor. So like this version, like goodbye Gene Hackman. So I will say that I am going to rewatch the series, and I will do as Darcy and Tactics have suggested and have something else to do while I watch it. So when the stupid 60% or 70% or back to the 40% or whatever the ratio is going to be, I'm going to be just like not paying attention, because like I could not give a fuck about Lana, her kids, her ex-husband, and the children of the Kents. Really, I'm watching it for Tyler Hoechlin and the actor who plays Bruno Mannheim, because I love that actor, and also the guy who's playing Michael Cutlet, I think it is. I'm not entirely sure, and Chad Coleman. Nonetheless, yeah. So like, I will rewatch it, but I'm enjoying having my Cole's Notes version. I passed the exam, and that's all that matters.
By the way, the thing I was referencing earlier, did you guys see the Lex Luthor they put in Superman or Supergirl?
The original, like the one with Helen Slater?
No, the TV show that was like that was running for the Arrowverse.
That guy.
Yeah, he
The guy
also
from
played
2.5 Men, right?
Yeah, he played
Yeah.
Alan Harper in 2.5 Men. I
Yeah.
was like, no.
Yeah.
and when I watched Supergirl longer than I should have, and when I watched him, I was just like, no, it's not getting better for me. This is
Pull
not.
it back, baby. Pull it back.
Yep. That's it. That's it. Yeah. No.
Yeah,
Definitely not.
So so nonetheless, I will say that Superman Lois came season 3. Like we stopped watching it, I think like halfway through season 2, and we're like, we're not going back. Well played, season 3.
Yeah.
Well played.
Well, I mean, one of us still has to watch season 3, but you know, and I'm not talking about tactics.
I've seen enough, but I'm going to rewatch it.
You need to at least pick up those last 3 episodes in full. At least those last 3 episodes. I'm serious. You gotta watch them at least in full.
Darce, I'm going to watch the whole series.
Okay, fine. I won't forgive you until that point.
T, will you forgive me?
This crazy.
You are on fire tonight.
Oh.
All right. Well, that is the end of our topics for tonight. So I'm going to volley it back to UT for our closing remarks, Mr. Graduate.
All right. Well, this will conclude the edition of the Geeky Bros Podcast. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching, tuning in, or listening wherever you are. Be sure to like, favorite, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week. I'm your boy Tactics.
This is just Darcy.
And this is Big Geek Umar, the CNN of the group.
There it is.
Where's your live long and prosper, bro?
I'm doing it right now.
You got to say it. Otherwise, they won't know. What about our listeners, bro? Come on, say
I
it.
forgot. Sorry. Live long and prosper, y'all. Please like, subscribe. You just fine. Watch
You're
Dune.
done, bro. You missed it.